All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, welcome, wherever you are in the world. It's good to see you all here today. We're going to be getting started now. It's jumping straight into games with Qualifier number 4, the South Sea Mercenary League 2024. What a time, folks. It's going to be a grand old time, and we have some great players in this first matchup. Got a decent amount of players out for today. It's high vacation season, so I understand a lot of people are out on vacation, you know, enjoying various things and such, but here we go. Yes, Attack Speed Enjoyer versus Hadriz. We've got Wood Elves versus Dark Elves. Wood Elves is quite a bold choice. For a tournament, Wood Elves, you know, they can be very good if used well, but yeah, sorry, someone's just texting me. Yeah, Wood Elves, tricky to use well. Can be devastating if used well, but definitely one of the higher skill floor, skill cap factions. That being said, even if you do play them with a lot of skill, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to win, which is unfortunate state of Wood Elves right now. As for the Dark Elves, we do see Malice the Dork played, who is a very good choice. Got a couple of Reaper Bolt Throwers, Dark Riders with shields, it looks like, Sad Swords, Dread Spears, a couple of Corsairs, a lot of infantry actually, surprising amount of infantry. And on the opposite side, it's all these Eternal Guard. We've got a couple of Way Watchers, Wild Rider, Stag Knights even. Yeah, a couple of great Stag Knights, Sisters of Thorn. So, decent amount of cavalry impact here. Let's see how that trades into Hadriz infantry heavy force. Wood Elves underrated, perhaps. But it's just about consistency, right? And they are, at least in my opinion, not consistently great as opposed to other factions. It's just a lot harder to be consistently good with them. But let's see how they can do here. Malice is definitely a scary target, but the Way Watchers should be able to pincushion him if they get a good bead on him. From Hadriz's perspective, the Way Watchers are definitely going to be target priorities, as well as the Stag Knights, obviously. I mean, Stag Knights are okay. They're not the best monstrous cavalry in the game. There's just something about them. I don't know if it's their animations or hitboxes or what that doesn't seem 100% right. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Looks like we've got these Dark Riders swinging out here, and yeah, Javelin of the Sisters of Thorn. Getting some good hits. Ooh, they do burn Curse of On Rare, which is quite the spell to be burning this early on, especially just on some Dark Riders that would decisively lose that engagement anyway. A little bit of a questionable decision there, but that's okay. It's the speed debuff is at the very least going to allow the Sisters of Thorn to catch them, which means they will get defeated, but there's lots of reinforcing cavalry for the Dark Elves here. Some spears also moving in, so yeah, those Stag Knights, honestly, with all this cavalry, if they got the right engagement, could take that engagement, but for the time being, wisely just kind of pulling back. Yeah, Bolt Throwers, their damage isn't really high enough to be super effective here. Their fire rate and accuracy also is not great, so especially unchevroned Reaper Bolt Throwers, I mean, I get it to a degree just to keep Wood Elves honest. But yeah, you can see 90% of those shots are just straight missing the Glade Lord right there, which is definitely quite painful. Got these Cold One Knights here, and this is what I'm talking about, getting a good engagement. Cold One Knights charge the Sisters of Thorn. And let's see, the Stag Knights, it looks like, are engaged on the Dark Riders, so we'll keep the health bars up and see kind of how this plays out here, as it looks like we do have a frontline engagement going in our way as well. Looks like the Dark Riders are going to lose out there. Cold One Knights should trade effectively initially, but likely to lose out in the long run. Eternal Guards and Corsairs. Corsairs should win that pretty decisively. But the Way Watchers are just kind of hanging back right now, not really using their ammo or trying to snipe any specific targets. I might switch to the scatter shot, actually. Start going after the Way Watchers. Dark Elf Mage just got deleted. Yeah, I was going to say, where's the Dark Elf Caster? They just don't exist anymore, so there's that. But this cavalry engagement going, again, kind of a wash, to be honest. But now with the Stag Knights matched up, ooh, in a little bit of a sandwich of these Cold One Knights, this is a very bad situation, especially since they're separated from their healer by such distance. They're not going to be able to receive any healing. That's like 3,000 points worth of Stag Knights. It's going to trade very inefficiently into all those Cold Ones. So pretty painful situation there. The cavalry engagement on the other side, I mean, there isn't really one, but the Stag Knights helping to clean up some of this infantry here. The Way Watchers also firing some shots in. Looks like they, yeah, kind of peppered those Black Ark Corsairs there to the point where they end up routing and losing that engagement. Ooh, Hadris risking it for the biscuit. He's going to come in here with Malice. He's got the 2 Dark Riders on station to pressure away the Way Watchers, but will they be able to get in time? Right now, the Way Watchers, yeah, looks like the Swordsmen, Bleak Swords, and the Corsairs also break through right at the right time. So Hadris coming in, he gets that Murderous Prowess proc right when he needs it most as well. Malice just absolutely cleaving the Glade Lord, and it looks like this might be the decisive engagement here, as the Wood Elves get enveloped by the Dark Elves. Dark Riders getting in, really nice extra charge damage because of that. Murderous Prowess. Stag Knights rushing in to try and staunch the bleeding, but will it be effective? Demon's Curse on that Glade Lord squeaks away for Malice. While out on the far side here, Sister Thorn trying to shut down this artillery. Not that it will do a lot for them, but it's some kind of value that Attack Speed Enjoyer can get back here. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Yeah, Malice moves in, snipe the Spell Singer of Life. She gets tangled up with him. It's going to be very bad. Blade Lord is getting some shots in the meantime. And it looks like the Stag Knights were able to clean up a decent amount of units here and also stay alive critically. The Sisters of Thorn also just occupying a huge amount of value in terms of resources here. All these Dark Elves just, yeah, trying to kind of rally to the cause a little bit here, but Dark Elves ahead significantly on damage value, but Attack Speed Enjoyer's not going quietly right now. He's actually trading nicely with these Stag Knights, able to continue cleaning up a few units. Blade Lord also moving in there. Got some Stag Knights out here rallying, coming back to the battle. Yeah, those Way Watchers, and that's just the Dark Riders too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm such a fan of Dark Riders, is they, you know, 40 charge is good, especially with Murderous Prowess, goes up to 50 charge. It's just good. Like, 450, 500 cost cavalry unit with 50 charge is very solid for taking out like light archers or artillery or whatever else, as you saw there. Very impressive stuff. Dark Elves at their finest. The most cost-effective of any of the elves, for sure. No questions asked. But let's see. Malice here still has his entire Zarkand form, which is why I'm not really seeing great chances for the Wood Elves to try and win this. But, yeah, the Way Watchers basically ineffective at this point, and that was really the one thing that could threaten Malice here. Everything else in the build is pretty vulnerable to him. So, don't see Attack Speed Enjoyer pulling this one out. I think Counters probably has this one locked up. But let's wait for them to finish the game and see what happens. Beautiful play by Hadris. Definitely a strong veteran player. Let's see here. Yep, Malice pops his blood price there. Pops his... what is it? The other one, too. Get the names of these things, but... yep, there it is. Attack Speed Enjoyer going to throw in the towel. Hadris takes the win. There you go. First win of the day. And if I took a look at the bracket on the side here... Looks like Gotrek Starbreaker already moved on from his battle, prevailed over Sexy Boy. Zegzi also prevailed over Seagauze. Now Zegzi fighting Dastan. Got Gotrek fighting the winner of Rusto and Gojira. Hadriz now moves on to fight Archangel. And it looks like we've got Golden Bluk versus Azek Hirmem. Winner of that moves on to face Miravoy. So let's get to it. We'll wait for the next... Yeah, GG's. Probably should have looked at the values on that one, but that's okay. Let's move on to the next... next battle, if we can. It'll be a relatively quick one today. Only 4 rounds. And we're already partway through the first round. So... Oh, yes, big stretch. Ah. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, just looking over here. Okay, let me just check something real quick, guys. Gotta do a rules adjudication. Bear with me just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, just had to check the ruling real quick. And yes, indeed, Steam Tanks limit to 1. So there you go. It is within the unit caps. Just needed to make sure that was actually included. So let's see here. Okay. All right, looks like Golden Floof is yeah, still fighting with Azek Irman, Legzi and Dastan. We have a spec slot opening up pretty soon here. Okay. Okay. Gotta do some administrating here. Okay, I had to do some admin stuff here. Now I am back, and yes, Dastan versus Zegzi, and we've got... Oh, I'm showing some builds here. Oops. Oops. No big deal. Yes, Son of Beryl here. New player looking to get into the battles. Access these land battles with maps with dawn points. It's a mod. Yes, it is a mod called Land Battles with Capture Points. Yes. It is what enables us to do this game mode created by, yes, Umaiz himself, and Gojira and many other contributors, also the map makers. And Gojira's credited on there, but yeah, it should be a good time. Perfect. Looking good here. Yes, it's a fun way to not have to be subjected to some of the more degenerate playstyles in multiplayer, you know, whether it's corner camping or like there's other kind of like draw kiting, right? There's other styles of play that in tournaments we have rules that have to legislate against them. But ultimately, you know, when you're just playing quick battles, or if you want to host a tournament and not have to have your players read this big rule set, then this is a great way to do it. Although even still, you'd be surprised with how some players are just not understanding the rule sets and, you know, failing at reading comprehension, which I understand. You know, not everyone in the tournament has English as their primary language, which is fine. But if you're going to join the tournament, you at least got to have someone translate the rules page for you so that you can understand the basics, like turn unit caps on, which has been done in this lobby. But yeah, turn unit caps on. There's rules about, you know, you can't take more than certain amount of time to pick your army, or if you do, you just have to notify an admin. Like, I'm not an unreasonable person, but I'm also not an unreasonable person. So if you're taking like an unreasonable amount of time, for example, to pick your army, I might tell you to please hurry up. My cat is a little upset because ever since my one cat passed a couple weeks ago, I have been dieting the Chonky boy, my other cat, who's a little fair bit overweight. Yeah, I didn't really want to diet him with my other cat around because she was super skinny. But yeah, now that, well, and also now that she's gone, I'm putting out less food, right? So he's just upset with the situation. He's upset with his dieting. He's been quite vocal about it over the past couple days, especially. But, you know, he'll get used to it over the next couple weeks, I'm sure. Takes some time, but poor chunky boy. He's not super chunky. He's actually just like kind of a big cat and also very fluffy. So he looks chunkier than he is, but he is a bit chunky. Like he is a few pounds overweight, so we need to get him down a little bit. And let's see here. Got some more Dark Elves from Dastan. Zegzi going into Kislev. Oh yeah, Kislev. Oh, Kislev. Surprised they didn't get banned on the pick and bans. So basically the way the picks and bans work, right? Both players get one global ban that comes from a set list of S-tier factions, being Kislev, Empire, Brettonia, and Tzeentch. So each player global bans one of those two, right? So you eliminate two of those, and the global ban applies to both players, right? So like one player bans Kislev, one player bans Empire. Now both of those are out. Now you still have Tzeentch and Brettonia potentially available. Both players do get 2 additional bans though, and you can use those on those S-tier factions. So in theory, you could ban all 4 of the S-tier factions and only leave everything else open, or you could try and target some other bans based on maybe if there's a bad matchup for what you want to pick. But that's why it's interesting for me here to see Zegzi have Kislev available. Means Dastan probably tried to do more of like a targeted ban rather than just banning only the S-tier factions. It's just kind of interesting to see different players' philosophies and sort of strategies for picks and bans. It's a metagame in and of itself, and certainly one that, I mean, it's sort of another layer on top of multiplayer that you have to learn potentially if you're going to be joining tournaments. But really, it's just about matchup knowledge and at least understanding, like, in a broad sense, how different matchups or factions kind of perform, right? And with the blind pick system, it's not like you have a chance to counter pick necessarily, so often incentivizes players to pick more balanced factions. In a pick and ban system where you have one player counter picking, you'll see more like hard counter factions or more factions with more tilted matchups where maybe they have a few good and a few bad matchups, right? But Dastan's pretty new to multiplayer. Probably not aware of the S tiers. Yeah, fair point. I don't play their bans. I see. Okay, Zegzi. Interesting. Yeah, see, and that's like, well, some players will also just, you know, if they're feeling particularly confident with a certain faction, they might just kind of throw away their bans, right? Or if they're, yeah, I mean, it's something that I've done in the past, certainly. It's like, pick Empire, ban nothing. Like, try. Like, that's good attack speed enjoy. That's good. I think having multiple bans is pretty necessary, and I also, like, pick 3, ban 1, or ban 3, pick 1, like, leaves, it's more of a metagame. This one, I feel like, is, I don't know, I personally like it better than pick 3, ban 1, but yeah, less full of pitfalls. Pick 3, ban 1, you can pick yourself into a corner if you're not careful. You can also kind of, like, box out your opponent and only leave them bad matchups if you pick, like, depending on how the bans in previous games, if it's especially in like a 3-game series, right? But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this pick system, it's developed a little bit over the course of the tournament, you know, adding the blind picks and everything, but I'm pretty happy, and I'll probably continue this pick system for all my tournaments and events going forward. So, sweet. Jumping in now. And yeah, Dark Elves versus Kislev. We do have 3 Griffin Legions, so Stan at least understands that portion of it very well. He's got a bunch of Armored Cussars, some I don't know why the formatting on this Challenge got so screwed up. Anyway. I mean, I even considered, honestly, going to 3 bans. Just to give more... I feel like that would maybe give more lower tier factions a chance to actually appear. Like, we haven't seen any undead, I don't think. Maybe some people have played some undead in certain games, but we haven't seen Tomb King's Vampire Counts of Vampire Coast, which, you know, as an undead hater, I'm actually fine with. But as a Warhammer enjoyer, it'd be nice to have all the factions represented. We have seen some greenskins, you know, Crabling played them in the finals the first game. We have seen some Khorne as well. I know some people played Slaanesh, they didn't win with them, but I have to respect them at least trying. So, but yeah, again, maybe some people played some Undead and I just never saw it. I think 3 bans, it probably wouldn't affect it a lot. It would just, again, give more of those kind of mid to lower tier factions a chance to be picked, perhaps. And you'd probably see, like, no Brettonia, Kislev, Empire, or Tzeentch, which, you know, as an Empire enjoyer, it makes me a little bit sad, but I understand where the balance is at right now. People don't necessarily want to just be getting face-stomped by steam tanks. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Zegzi here with a nice wide stance. He's got dervishes and Griffin Legion on each flank. A lot of micro, potentially, but Ice Witch of Tempest on horseback for the width, and Armored Kossars with Kislev Warriors behind. Blackguard here on the flanks, 4 Dastans, Dark Elves, yeah, Halbrunai. Or Dastan's the new one, not Zegzi, sorry. It's still early for me, guys. Haven't had my coffee yet. Got a Master and a Death Hag here. And a Supreme Sorceress of Beasts, Bloodrack Medusa, Hargoneth Executioners in the back, not Blades of the Blood Queen, which used to be amazing. You don't see them as much anymore, but not that you saw them a ton in the past, but they were a nice kind of surprise pick into certain factions. Could definitely blend a lot of infantry. I'm a little bit worried about the lack of width here for Dastan, but yeah, Zegzi just going... Just Zerg Kislev here. Interesting to see, for sure. So... let's see here. Yep. And they're off. Let's get these guys rolling. Looks like Dastan's taking a nice tight position. Going to be trying to defend against the width, evidently. But Zegzi pressing forward on all points here. Griffin Legions. Such a strong unit right now. Dervishes here to break the charge. If there was any Old One Knights, which are great in this matchup. Dark Elves, I was actually talking about this with Ryder Rohan yesterday. Dark Elves, actually, in his opinion, as the my resident elf expert, he says, you know, and I think I would agree with him, that Dark Elves actually probably have the best matchup of all the elves versus Kislev, and that's specifically because Cold One Knights trade well into Griffin Legion, which makes a lot of sense. They're anti-large armor piercing. You know, after successive buffs, they definitely can shine against most factions' cavalry. Like in a cav versus cav engagement, they will do well. They're not as good at fighting infantry as other factions. Shock cavalry, like these Griffin Legion, will perform much better cycle charging infantry and just as more of a generalist unit, right? But specifically cav versus cav, Cold One Knights matter a lot. And we don't see any Cold One Knights here from Dastan. Again, maybe a little bit of a beginner move, but for me, I would probably have traded out these Blackguard for Cold One Knights. And 2 Blackguard, you could almost get 3 Cold One Knights. You'd have to probably trade out something else here, maybe cut shields from 1 or 2 of these Dark Shards. Dark Shards are also a good pick here, though. Armor piercing will trade well into like these armored Kossars and so forth. So yeah, a little bit of Flock of Doom from the Supreme Sorceress of Beasts. That is another way to get these Griffin Legion off the field. It's going to take a long time, but you can burst them down over time. Lord of Shadows also probably would have been good as well. You know, Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. Dark Magic, Soul Stealer also is decent damage, but probably not efficient Winds of Magic-wise versus Cavalry. Let's see here. Segzi taking a nice big envelopment stance. As I double check here, bracket and messages, just making sure. Yep, everything all good. And yeah, looks like Rusto managed to prevail over Gojira, moved on to fight Gotrek Starbreaker. As we see a little bombardment here, kind of prodding the Blackguard. Dastan's defensive position looking pretty scary, but we see the Bloodwrack Medusa come forward here to start to damage the Armored Kossars, little cycle charge shooting, if you will. But the Griffin Legion also, and Kossovai Dervishes in position to trade into the Dark Riders. Dark Riders will win on damage, but leadership-wise, because of By Our Blood, the Dervishes will probably carry the engagement at the end. We'll see, but here with the Griffin Legion, they got caught up momentarily on the Dark Riders, but definitely want to immediately follow up. Here, really nice block. No, ooh, I don't know 100% if those guys were braced. Hard to say, but we see a Blizzard going down in the back line here as well to burst one Dark Shard. This Griffin Legion, though, charging in, doing little to no damage, and getting absolutely peppered by Dark Shards. It's a lot of value to be losing out with him not doing much damage. Hawks of Misha, actually, not necessarily Blizzard, but looks like a bombardment there. And Griffin Legion, Kossovai Dervishes charge into the Executioners. Yeah, Executioners definitely going to be a scary opponent, but just trying to win on leadership here, I guess, and take advantage of that glorious charge. Griffin Legions actually haven't done a lot here. I mean, they have been struggling pretty mightily. Granted, they've also... Never mind, they have done some. Yeah, the Blackguard here, suffering in terms of leadership. Ooh, they managed to just rally now, but getting shot in the back by those Armored Kossars. They just dumped their ammo super cost-effectively into those expensive halberds. So even though, in this case, the Griffin Legion acting more like Empire Knights, just kind of blocking while the missile units get the work done. Cavalry for Kislev surprisingly gets evaporated pretty quickly, and Dastan's actually not trading terribly in terms of value. He's just a few hundred points behind right now, but certainly nothing that's insurmountable. And yeah, man, those Griffin Legion, Kossovai Dervishes, all the cavalry for Kislev just getting routed alarmingly quickly. So, power of the Dark Elves in their melee. Definitely pretty strong. We get one Griffin Legion with like a quarter of their HP that escapes that engagement. Everything else pretty much for Kislev Cavalry just gets absolutely savaged. One Blackguard manages to emerge relatively healthy as well, but oh, this is potentially very bad. The Ice Witch gets caught on the ground here by the Hargoneth Executioners, and the Supreme Sorceress just has better stats than her, I would imagine. Let's see. Maybe pretty comparable, actually, but with Murderous Prowess active... yeah, the Ice Witch actually has more weapon strength, but very comparable stats, actually, without Murderous Prowess. But obviously that will be up for another 20 seconds or so. Looks like the Ice Witch going to move away, go rally with those Dervishes, try and take out some Dark Shards here. This big block of infantry's looking scary, but at the same time, as long as there's enough... ooh, Curse of Onrare is interesting choice. I would probably, in Dastan's position here, just save all my magic at this point for Flock of Doom. It's going to be very important to work down this big infantry line, and with just spamming Flock of Doom in this blob, you could do a lot of AoE damage here, and over time, as long as you have units on the ground that can keep filling, I guess there is no attacking rule, as long as you can have units on the ground just to make sure you don't get killed on leadership, you can just keep spamming that Flock of Doom until the end of time, until the points run out, pretty much. But, yeah, at this point, just getting hung up on fighting the Ice Witch, and again, that Curse of Onrare is not the cheapest spell in the world. Solid 11 Winds of Magic. Like, not even 2 Flocks of Doom. I guess it's not terrible, but still, that's an extra 2 Flocks of Doom that could have gone in and helped to DPS down these Kossars, because right now, Dark Elves build has basically no anti-infantry DPS. Like, the Blackguard here are not going to be able to grind down this many unit models. Okay, it's just not possible for them. Now here, the Supreme Sorceress dives onto the ground, gets caught by the Griffin Legion. Their mass should be sufficient to hold her in place. Looking like a win for Zexy right now. I don't want to call it too early, but Kislev definitely in a very commanding position here. As, oh, there are a few Bokasars here. Going to be firing into Blackguard at point-blank range. Maybe. I mean, maybe the Dark Elves can pull this out. This Master, actually, anti-large AP, is also going to be pretty tough for Kislev to kill. I don't know. Definitely don't want to call it too early for Zexy, even though he's, you know, solid 1,400 ahead on damage value right now. That late-game grind could turn against him, perhaps, maybe. We'll see. Crossfied Dervishes here in open space, trying to finish off those Dark Riders. There's a Death Hag here as well, which I haven't really noticed too much. She's just been fighting on foot, accruing some value. Only 300 value so far, but does have that Chill Blade debuff, which has definitely gotten some support value, no doubt. Yeah, pistols wrecked that Medusa. For sure. For sure. Yeah, with the Supreme Sorceress down, the Master by himself on foot, I just don't think, again, he has enough HP to grind it out. Like, even though there's not really a lot that's great at directly killing him, these two Dark Elf heroes... You know, Supreme Sorceress goes down officially. But let's see here. This guy's not on any mount, but even still, the Kislev Warriors with their armor-piercing damage in this round will be getting some little chunks. And just in general, yeah, you can see these couple of Kislev Warriors in here getting some nice AP damage in. Just the fact that he's so well surrounded there, he'll probably just get ground down over time. Same thing for this Death Hag here. He's trying to get to where the capture point is, but with no armor, just in the open space against these arrows. Even though they're not elf accuracy arrows, they're still accurate enough at point-blank range to get some hits. Do a solid amount of DPS, and she moves in to fight the armored Kossars in melee. Again, that lack of armor means in this round she'll be taking lots of damage from everything. But it looks like that's probably it for Dastan. Yep. Yep. There it is. Yeah. Like I said, Dark Elves, probably the best elves here. I just build construction. I mean, ultimately, the halberds end up paying for themselves, so it's hard for me to criticize too much, right? And the Blood-Racked Medusa does get killed a little bit early. Needed to get a little bit more value from that. The Executioners actually is the one I would probably change out for some Cold One Knights here, just for some extra mass. Yeah, the Dark Shards also didn't really do anything here. They got rushed down by the cavalry pretty hard, so it's an interesting matchup for sure. Kislev, the Griffin Legion, one of them ends up showing what they could do. The others actually, credit to Dastan for limiting them fairly well, but then in doing so, opened them up to some armored Kossar fire, many of them getting very cost-effective value. Same for these Kislev warriors as well. Just nice value all the way around for Zexy's Kislev. So, yeah, nice showing for sure. GG indeed. Zexy now moves on to face Gotrek Starbreaker in the semifinals. So, we'll probably just stay in this one. And it looks like Hadra's bested Archangel. So now we'll face the winner of the VM face-off. We got Miravoy versus Azek Hirmem. And looking good. Looking good. We're making great time today. Should be a little bit of a shorter stream because I had less people, but oh yes. I'm gonna go grab a drink of water, and I will be right back. Let me put some music on for you guys. I'm also gonna insert a YouTube ad. I know, I apologize. I know I said I wouldn't do that before, but I gotta keep the lights on somehow here, so bear with me just 1 second. Alright, I am returned. Hope you all are well. Yes. Who's excited for the patch this week? I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be a patch. They said, what, that Karnak's coming on the 25th, which is Tuesday. Of course, I'm going to be out of town this week, so... yeah, I mean, I really hope that there's a considerable balance patch. We'll see. It's, you know, Karnak is a big enough addition that I could see them justifying like a 5.1 update, right? So, usually on those bigger sort of mid-patch, like between DLC updates, I guess full patch would be a better way to describe it, that is going to be a good time for sure. Hopefully we see some good changes there. But Karnak, at the very least, depending on his cost and what abilities are available to him in multiplayer, should be a nice addition. I mean, based on what they kind of teased, he should be like an anti-caster kind of character. Potentially getting like a silence or shutting down magic attacks, or who knows exactly what it'll be, but anti-magic theme for Khorne, sort of leaning into that more heavily, will definitely benefit them. Of course, Khorne's also slated to get a DLC sometime this year, probably, I would imagine, in the fall. But, yeah. It's anyone's guess, for sure. Hang on 1 second, guys. Gotta close my door. I'll be right back. Yes. I don't know if this is the actual faction picks, but if it is, man, that's going to be a barn burner. Kislev versus Brettonia. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, is Zexy going Wood Elves? No, Zexy, say it ain't so. Against Brettonia? No! Oh, that's rough. That is the case. That is extremely rough. Yeah. Yeah, that is, oh, so painful. Okay, no. It's Beastmen versus Cathay. I was gonna say, that's a lot more reasonable. You should not be picking Wood Elves at this stage. Unless you're really confident. But Wood Elves are hopefully gonna get some buffs. I don't know. There are probably worse things than Wood Elves versus Brettonia. Wood Elves versus Brettonia has been cursed since Warhammer 2, I want to say. Like, even before Grail Knights were insane, you just couldn't hold against all that cavalry. Like, you just, even when, like, the tree units were actually better, right? And, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's never been a good matchup for Wood Elves. Probably in Warhammer 1, it was a decent matchup for Wood Elves. But in Warhammer 2, like, post-Immortal Empires, I don't know if it was ever a good, or a decent, or even matchup for Wood Elves, you know? It's a tough one for sure. It's like, yeah, historically, there's been a few matchups that have just been, like, I hesitate to say straight up unwinnable, but it's pretty close. Like, your opponent had to make some pretty serious mistakes for you to lose. But, not often. Like, for a while, Dwarfs versus Skaven was that way, where Dwarfs would just get crushed by Skaven, just relentlessly. It's just... you could do whatever you wanted when, like, right after the Ikit's DLC came out, and you had, like, supercharged Doom Wheels with Ikit, you had, like, the flares, the little, like, chariot things were insane, Jezzails, it was all just designed to punish the Dwarfs, pretty much. Times have definitely changed since then, but I don't know. I feel like Skaven, if they're played right, can still be a tough out for the Dwarfs. Anyone who can compete with shooting with the Dwarfs is going to potentially give them a harder time, but maybe not so much anymore since the last DLC. Dwarfs can probably pull off some stuff in that matchup, but I don't know. I don't see Skaven played a ton these days. They're, again, another solidly mid-tier faction. I'm surprised we haven't seen them yet in the tournament, but maybe we did, actually. Maybe we saw, like, one Skaven game and I'm just forgetting. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's setting the 800 ticket limit. It's honestly not a big deal. As long as it's not, like, 1,500. Like, 800's fine. If it was 1,500, I'd probably say something, but yeah. Because that definitely does change if it's a significant difference, right? But if it's just 100 tickets, it's not that big of a difference, extra minute or two, you know? But man, the Med 2 soundtrack is such a banger. Will we see routing Gorgons? Maybe just some dead ground up Cathays? Yeah, let's see. I do see double Gorgon, which is insane. On the one hand. On the other hand, I kind of understand it. We see a regular Gorgon and another regular Gorgon. It's no Blood Brute Behemoth, which I probably would have brought just because I feel like the Blood Brute is just better due to its special abilities and the extra stats, especially, like the extra melee defense helps a lot. But we'll see. Yeah, triple beater single entity from Gotrek Starbreaker here. He's gone with Malagor. He's got 2 Gorgons and a Jabber. So, two Gorgons and a Jabber walk into a bar. Razorgore Herd, Zangors, Pestigors, Dangors. So he's got a mix of marked beastie infantry. Relatively tall build. Relatively narrow. Zexy, on the other hand, has gone quite wide. He's got Jade Warriors up front. Going with Yuan Bo for some lore sniping here. Got some Iron Hail Gunners. Celestial Lion. Empress Croman. And some Onyx Croman over on the other side. And let's see what they can do. Med 2 is just overall a banger. Absolutely. Absolutely one of the best video games ever made. Let's see here. Yeah, Malagor and the Beastmen, no surprises. They're going to have the speed to take the initiative and the high ground here and seize the objective immediately. So Zexy is going to be fighting a literal uphill battle here, but he's got plenty of tactical flexibility to try and win out, try and pick off some isolated units perhaps, like these Croman even, charging into the Razorgore herd to prevent the Razorgore herd from charging, or to at least do some damage to them. Yeah, nice flock of doom in the back line here. Yeah, I don't know if that was overcast. Must have been overcast. But does almost a quarter HP damage to all, well, at least to the two Iron Hails here. But, ooh, the Celestial Dragon Crossbow ROR, they're basically sisters of Celestial Avalorn. They're going to start to unleash some volleys here. Yeah, the Zangor's not going to be the best targets. Pestigor's definitely be a great target to shoot at, or obviously any of the monsters, especially the Jabber, since it has no healing. The damage on that will be more real, so to speak, but yeah, some really nice damage from those big fancy crossbows. We're going to see another block of doom, though. Once again, hitting all the skirmish troops for Cathay. And we see how the Hounds have just been pathed straight through here. But they do still get caught up on the front line, even though they tried to just path straight through. Malagor does land straight on the crossbowman, though, and we see both players kind of escalating, rushing in a lot of resources. The monsters move in. And, oh man, the Iron Hail is just absolutely shredding the Jabber as he gets netted by Yuan Bo. Yuan Bo also needing to switch directions, move into the back line to try and fight Malagor in melee. The disruption from the Beastmen has landed, and for the most part it's effective. We do still have one Iron Hail unaccounted for and one Peasant Archer as well that can turn and fire here. But for the time being, the Gorgons actually trading surprisingly poorly, considering they're just fighting, you know, I guess elite crossbows in melee and the Onyx Croman. But oh, up close, that was a devastating volley. Did a massive amount of HP damage right before the Jabber Scythe landed on those Iron Hails. So, yeah, looks like the Razorgore herd's being pushed back here. Iron Hails also trying to get a bead, but right now the Beastmen doing a decent job of keeping them interrupted. This one here has gotten a few really nice volleys. It's probably, yeah, already paid for themselves almost twice. So Beastmen definitely need to make sure they continue shutting down all these range tools. For Zexy here, definitely need to pull these spears into the front line. Make sure you've got all your infantry activated in combat. Pestigor is also going to be trading beautifully against Jade Warriors. Again, on the flanks, Zangor's doing the same for the Peasant Long Spears. So, so far, so good for the Beastmen. They've managed to come in and take out a lot of their priority targets in terms of missile units, right, to protect their big, expensive monsters. That said, still got maybe the Celestial Lion going to charge in here. And even though, yeah, Zexy's ahead on... Wow. Wow, Zexy's going to throw in the towel there already. He was ahead on damage value and just netted that Gorgon, but evidently, I don't know if he thought that was the wrong one or... Yeah, not looking good for Cathay. Feel like that was maybe a little bit early, but I understand at the same time, like, you've got all these single entities rushing through and just smashing your build. I kind of like it, to be honest. Very aggressive, and Iron Hails, Peasant Archers, ultimately just not enough. I don't know, I almost think just all Iron Hails probably would have been better in terms of cost, and then you just cut these guys and take, like, some support cavalry. Like, there's no cavalry in this build, which, I mean, Jade Lancers are going to die horribly, as will Peasant Horsemen. It's not like they're going to hold the Gorgon for very long, but I don't know. Something. Maybe upgrade some of these to halberds, perhaps. I mean, it is Beastmen after all, right? You're going to be probably expecting some large monsters, but I don't know. It's not like halberds really help you a ton here against these, or even against Centaurs necessarily. So, anyway. Let's see here. Uh, Making sure. Oh, actually, I don't know why. Yeah, the should be just the finals as a best of three, not the semis and the finals. I don't know why it says that in the description. I haven't done that for any of the tournaments so far. So, I don't know. Did I change that at some point? Anyway. Yeah, sorry. That was incorrect. Anyway. Okay, so let's move to the other side of the bracket here. Hadriz versus... Still waiting on the two VM clan members to see who goes on. So we'll put the music back on. We'll be chilling for just a second. Sit tight, grab your snack, and I'm gonna go do that, so I'll be right back. Alright, I am returned. And we're still waiting on these guys to finish up their game. So, yeah, so let's have a little chat, guys. What you guys been playing lately, besides Warhammer, of course? Getting hyped for patch, potentially, on Tuesday. Hopefully we'll see some patch notes sometime soon. But in terms of other things, I know Elden Ring's DLC just came out, right? Age of Wonders 4 just had another DLC. That's what I've been playing over the past few days. A little bit of free time here and there. Added, like, they call them Eldritch Sovereigns, which is basically like, they're kind of like demon princes. They're like shadow demons, kind of. But then the Umbral, they're the Eldritch Sovereigns. You can kind of, you know, it can be your lord, just like a dragon lord or like your regular. So you get some unique abilities, some unique mechanics from that, and it's quite a bit of fun. I don't know, maybe I'll end up doing a stream of that. Probably not, but maybe if I can get some people together for some multiplayer, and if it's stable enough. I've tried playing the game multiplayer in the past. I've wanted to do some streams and videos about it. I just haven't had it be stable enough for me to really enjoy. Like, I've had some crashes and stuff, but I don't know. Evidently, Turin seems to not have too many problems with it, so. I saw that Swiss Pikeman 7 Days to Die at long last, reaching 1.0. I mean, I have some friends who have played with 7 Days to Die kind of on and off over the years, so we might jump back on for the 1.0 update now that it's finally here. 7 days, quite a bit of fun if you've got a good group of friends to play. Even playing solo, yeah, it can be pretty fun, honestly. Very relaxing. I don't know, for me, those kind of survival building games, not something I enjoy playing all the time, but certainly as a nice change of pace. If I like, I don't know, just building games in general, whether it would be like a city builder or a survival builder, it's just kind of relaxing in a way. 7 days definitely can get a bit intense when you're, you know, trying to scavenge, you run into a zombie horde, or when you have your 7th day horde, you know, coming and attacking your base. It gets very intense and fun, but just the building aspect of it. It's another reason why, like, I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 76 lately as well, over the past few months. Since the show came out, watched that. It's like, oh yeah, I heard Fallout 76 is actually decent now, so maybe we'll, take a look, but anyway. Yeah, these guys should be almost done. Let's see, what else has been updated recently? Oh, speaking of 76, Fallout 76 also just had their first major map expansion on the base map. Skyline Valley update. It's quite a bit of fun. The quest line's pretty fun. The event was a little meh, I'm gonna be honest. Like, some of the other public events are more fun. Yeah, both the public events are just kind of okay. They're not super great, but they're fine. The one where you fight the big 3 robots is... I mean, the boss battles on Fallout 76, I know it's tricky for them to balance because builds are kind of all over the place, right? And it's like, if you're in like a group of 12 and a lot of people have optimized builds, the bosses are going to go down super fast. If you're only in like a group of like 6, which has happened to me before, and you guys, maybe like a couple people don't have super well optimized builds, or you have like a couple of lower level players mixed in, then the boss battles can take a good amount of time because the bosses have a lot of HP, right? They can feel very bullet spongy. But again, I know it's tricky for Bethesda to balance because, like, how can you account for how many people are going to be joining and there's, you know, so many people in a server, all those people join in on the event at the same time, it's going to get chaotic, but definitely fun. Fallout 76 is definitely a good time. Janky, absolutely janky, buggy, has some major issues, but still a fun game. Still a Fallout game. Has a lot of Fallout charm, which was absent on release. It is kind of funny that you can tell, even still, because a lot of the base quests are still in there, right? So it's like, oh, I found this, like, you know, situation where there used to be people here, and then they all died or left. And then now there's like one other random person who came back and it's just kind of hanging out there and who will talk to you. They won't really like give you any quests or like relate to the quest at all. They're just kind of there. And then you do the quests all through holotapes, and it's not all like that. There's a lot of quests that are actually through the NPCs, obviously, but like the quests from the release of Fallout 76, like I said, a lot of those are still in there, and so you can kind of see the bones of where, like, okay, this game used to actually suck, but it's fun now. I've put a good amount of time into it over the past few months, like, you know, hour here, hour there, log on for a couple hours one night to get some dailies done and some events. Anyway, it's a good time. It's a good time. It's probably the live service game that I've enjoyed the most. I don't know, I wouldn't consider this necessarily a live service game. It doesn't get updated enough, but yeah, like a true live service multiplayer game. Fallout 76 is definitely up there. So I would give it a thumbs up review. If you enjoy Fallout, especially if you have friends to play with, or even if not, honestly, the community is super welcoming. Like, generally people, it's like the anti-Rust, right? If you played, or like Daisy's not as bad. Sometimes it can be fine. Some people are pretty friendly, but like, let's say a more sort of edgy, quote-unquote hardcore survival game, right? Where like the people will just immediately kill you on sight every single time, pretty much. Fallout 76 is like the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Everyone's super friendly. PvP is technically in the game, but it's not really encouraged, or like, yeah, the game doesn't really incentivize PvP at all. There's not really a lot of rewards for doing it, so, and in general, people frown upon it. Like, if you go into a server and kill a bunch of players, you're gonna have some, like, level 1000 dudes with freaking, like, Gatling rocket launchers, like, coming after you, basically, right? Like, which, I don't know, it's kind of fun in a way to have a community that's so welcoming. It means it's a lot more of a PvE game, right? Which is not everyone's cup of tea, which is totally fine. I also enjoy PvP. I mean, I'm obviously doing a PvP stream right now, but, yeah. Yeah, I never particularly enjoyed, like, I don't know, Daisy's decent, it's alright, like, definitely put some hours into Daisy. Rust I haven't really tried, because it didn't really seem as appealing, but... Oh, these guys are taking a hot minute with their game. Let's see here. Well, we were making great time, and we got a little held up here, but that's okay. Okay. Yeah, apologies about the long interlude, guys. I guess I could jump in and, like, play a game. I just didn't expect for them to be taking this long. It has been quite some time. Yeah, I've been waiting a solid, like, 10 minutes. So, assuming they started, like, right when I finished with that other game, they should be pretty close to done by now. What else is new in video gaming, strategy gaming in general? Let's see. Steam Summer Sale should be coming up soon, right? Or is it currently ongoing? Or that's, I think it's July, right? Anyway. Yeah, what would you guys recommend picking up on the summer sale? Leave your suggestions in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, in the comments down below. What's your recommendation for, assuming Steam Summer Sale is coming up soon. Oh, I see Stellaris is 70% off. That's bad for me. Yeah, Stellaris is, one of those games that I know I would love it way too much if I played it, so I haven't, because I don't have time. Yeah. Yeah, what else is coming out soon? There's a few city builders I've been wanting to check out. Speaking of builders, there's the Falconeer Chronicles is like a very kind of vertical city builder, which looks interesting. What else? What else? Oh, it looks like they are finished. Let's see, wait for the bracket to update. That nice OST track. A little soft for what we're looking for right now. So let's, yeah, let's go to that. Oh yeah, I have Cyberpunk 2077 too. Someone bought that for me recently and I have yet to play it. There's like a few games that I've received as gifts over the past year that I haven't had time to sit down and play, like Cyberpunk. Someone got me Red Dead Redemption 2, which I obviously need to play that, right? Like, it's like a true classic, so I should probably pick up a controller for that one, honestly, though. Believe it or not, I do not have a controller for my PC. Probably have one that's compatible laying around here somewhere, but anyway. What else? Soul Calibur is a fighting game that I played a lot, mostly because I had a custom character creator way back in the day. Okay, looks like we've got the semi-final lobby ready, so let's jump in there. And Miravoy, who died to an internet disconnection last time, was able to prevail over Azek Ahirmem, so I'm honestly happy for Miravoy, just because I really felt for him last time around. He was right in position to compete for the final, but unfortunately just had some internet issues, disconnected. Moore's contacted me and let me know. It's too bad, you know, feel for him for sure, so. Yes. What else? What else? I'm trying to fill some time here, guys, if you couldn't tell. But what are you guys most excited for this upcoming year? Honestly, in terms of gaming releases, it's hard for me to top Warhammer DLCs. I mean, Ulterior Motive. The spike in views and interest in the game results in me getting paid more from YouTube, right? Which is always awesome. But legitimately, this time, like, I am a person that enjoys rush factions, and so for me to get a DLC with, like, okay, Khorne, yes, absolutely needs DLCs. Honestly, Khorne had one of the funnest campaigns at the release of Warhammer 3. Their campaign works really well in the Realms of Chaos campaign, which no one plays now, because Immortal Empires came out, right? And in Immortal Empires, Skarbrand's start position just doesn't work great with his mechanics because the Tomb King's settlements are too far apart. They're too spread out, and so there's not actually a lot of enemy army threats in the area, right? Because it's like a couple of big factions nearby that you're fighting, like, that get carved up pretty quickly, but it's like the Savage Orc faction, right? And then there's another. Anyway, they yeah, it just doesn't work great in Immortal Empires. So either they need to move Skarbrand or add some more settlements, or like break that area up so there's more like you can get more like chains, right? Like chain movements where you win a battle and then move on. Because right now it's actually like impossible to take advantage of that mechanic, and you end up just like dying to attrition because there's not enough stuff to fight around you. Like the economy also for Khorne is very much based on fighting, so it's like if you're not getting enough battles, the game doesn't work right. And unfortunately, Khorne's start position means you often are not getting enough battles, in my experience. So that's something they could address for Khorne on the campaign side. Multiplayer-wise, just more variety of stuff, especially like Lord and Hero abilities. Because right now, you basically just have, like, okay, you want a melee attack buff or a self buff? Got you covered. Sometimes I might have an AoE damage as well. Not like a great AoE damage, just like a decent one. Like Spear Slopnir is probably the best, right? You got a couple of breath attacks, which are not great. Pretty subpar for breath attacks, actually, but at least it's some AoE damage, right? But yeah, like some summons, or some snares, or some, you know, maybe even a big debuff, right? That'd be cool and different. For Khorne, so we'll see. Karnak should add something fresh beyond him. It's anyone's guess. Smooth brain Khorne players can't handle more than a move and an attack button. See, that's the thing, is Khorne should have more. And like, I get them not having magic, that's fine. They still should have abilities. Like, you look at Dwarfs, right? Like, even if you were to exclude their rune magic, they still have quite a few, like, interesting abilities. Not amazingly interesting. Like, they could also actually do with a little bit of an ability overhaul. But, like, at least you have, like, a smoke bomb, right? A big slow slash snare. They had a Tormentor Sword for a little bit on release. That was fun. They also don't have summons really, but like Malachi has like a heal thing, right? And you know, you've got some, you do have some buffs as well, but they're actually like semi-meaningful buffs, right? But just some more, like, or like a targetable debuff, right? That'd be nice. Okay. Need to stand up and do some squats. Another hammer up Karak but for melee defense. Yes, see, Swiss Pikeman, now you're talking. Now you're talking. Use some Marauder Horseman variants. Maybe Javelins. Maybe, and this is something I've talked about before, maybe they get Horse Masters of Khorne, you know, that have like only 7 volleys of throwing axes, but great melee stats. They're basically like Centaurs with precursor volleys, right? That would be awesome. That would be something, it would be easy for them to add, too. They have all of the stuff already. They don't have to actually make anything new. They can just recombine existing elements, although they probably should, you know, make some new weapons at least. But they don't even necessarily have to do that. Like, just have them carry the chosen, you know, hand axes, dual hand axes. Anyway, this... They could also buff Skull Cannons and Soul Grinders of Khorne, yes. Yes, right now, the Tzeentch Soul Grinder is nuts, and all the other Soul Grinders are just kind of there. So, I've seen some people do well recently with the Khorne Soul Grinders, but their shooting attack just doesn't work well in practice. I think it maybe just needs more range, to be honest, but... Like, I get it's not supposed to be like a long-range option, but it should at least be able to compete with like lower-range archers, like 130, 140 probably. Skull Cannons can be good. I have seen them be effective, but their accuracy is so... not even their accuracy, it's the missile speed, honestly, is so slow that they just miss so much. If they were to increase the missile speed of Skull Cannons, I think it would help significantly. For sure. Hey, what's up, Goj? Yeah, I saw you got slapped in the first round. Goes that way sometimes, but we're getting close. This is actually the semi-final. So, we've got our finals contestants just about ready. I'm just getting the things updated here, making sure we got all the names appropriate on the bracket, scoreboard. Okay. Hadra's just Mirovoy has not started, no. No, it's Mirovoy versus Azek took a decent amount of time, so we're here now. Civ 7, yeah, Civ 6 has been announced. That's another huge one for gaming. I think that's coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken, 25. But yeah, Civ 7, I mean. So yeah, Civ 6 is a game I've played a lot. Civ 7 is coming. And that's one to get hyped for sure. I'm going to lose a lot of hours to that game. Absolutely. But looks like, is it going to be Brettonia versus Dark Elves? Hatters might be in for a rough one for sure if that's the case, but... Let's see here. Da, da, da. He's going Dark Elves. Okay, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely taking their time with building their armies for sure. But, you know, the way of things when there's cash on the line. Now we've been on intermission for like half an hour now, so I'll give him another few minutes and then maybe give him a warning. Yeah, still just waiting here. Been a little impromptu half-hour podcast about gaming news. The anticipation, I know, right? It's killing me. Absolutely killing me. There we go. Oh boy. Interesting build from Hadris. He's got the Scream tank. I mean, it makes sense, actually, to take the Scream tank here. I like that pick quite a bit. He's got Charybdis, couple Halberds, couple Cold One, Knights, Malice, also a very strong pick. Fire Mage, 3 Spearmen. And for King Lewin, he's got a Hippo to back him up. And then no Grail Knights, interestingly enough. Just Knights of the Realm, Archers, maximum width, pretty much. Mobs. Yeah, I mean, the troop count here disparity is remarkable. Let's see how that plays into things. I don't know, the quality versus quantity argument here. Because, I mean, it gets to a certain point, right, where, like, these Blackguard can fight a lot of peasants and be fine. So, it seems a little too tall, perhaps, but keep in mind also that Malice is essentially 2 units in one, right? The Scream tank, the reason why you take the Medusa on the tank, right, on the shrine, is because it has armor, and the mass to be able to try and get out of engagements. It's going to be less vulnerable to cavalry swarms, and can continue firing in more situations. Also has a lot of ammunition. Yeah, 125 range, so we'll see if that ends up mattering too much. Is going to have to be careful to try and protect against all of this, but look at this massive build from Miravoy here. Got Knights of the Realm, and looks like 1 Knight Errant as well. He's got Hippogriff Knights, King Lewin, and then a whole staunch line of Peasant Bows, Spearmen, and the Mobs. Tall versus wide, extremely. Yeah, we'll see. Hadris might be too tall here, but he also... The Scream tank acting as a chariot, I don't know how good of a chariot it is right now. But at least potentially could help terrify away some of this width in the front line. Yeah, with the leadership debuff too. -4 leadership, -7 melee defense on the Aura of Agony. Yeah, if it gets into melee here, if it gets swarmed by knights, it will debuff enemies and buff nearby opponents. That's actually a 14% swing, I should say, on a chance to hit on enemies, because it's a -7 melee defense plus 7 melee attack, both of which apply, right, to your chance to hit. So friendly units basically gain plus 14% hit chance. when this thing is fighting in melee nearby them, so that could also be a factor. Yeah, it's a scream tank. That's what I said. It's a blood shrine. It's not a steam tank. It's a scream. Even though it's a gaze attack, I know. She's looking at you, but it's actually, she screams a lot too. So it's a scream tank. Just go with it. Yeah, the shrine is the most interesting piece for me for sure here. I've seen a lot of the regular Medusas. I don't know that I've seen shrines that much, but like on paper it makes a lot of sense, the reasons why you would take the shrine here over something else. But yeah, let's see. It's gonna get activated here. Couple of hits there on some mobs. Is it coming forward just to shoot these spearmen here? I mean, that's not that much better of a target, but doesn't want to get hit by archers too much. And also King Lewin rushes down. Getting attacked there. Probably will faint away pretty quickly, I would imagine. Doesn't want to get caught here, but oh, well. Malice is going to go for the engagement. Sword of Corone gets popped here to debuff the Bloodrack Shrine, but with Malice now in the fight here, the Charybdis also fighting. Yeah, 3v1 this single entity fight. Not going to go great for the king. You can see on the flanks, though, Miravoy is trying to get an advantageous engagement, and it does look like he's going to be able to rear charge those Cold One Knights there. Hippogriffs are also switching direction down onto that space. Looks like, yeah, both players escalating significantly here as the Cold One Knights got a little bit too far away from their infantry support. They're going to get absolutely nuked. Oh, absolutely destroyed by those Hippogriff Knights. Scream tank is firing in to try and support. We do get the Black Guard in there as well to try and help, but oh yeah, that's like 2,000 value almost worth of points. At least 1,500. Yeah, maybe full on 2,000 if they get completely finished. They should actually both come back and be able to contribute some here, but that is rough for Hadriz. Granted, he did trade out some value from the Knights in return, but they are going to be able to heal a lot of that up, so not super ideal, but anyway. Gotta keep those Knights close to those halberds as much as possible and keep this build together and not get pulled apart as much as possible. Meanwhile, Malice just fighting in the front line here, trying to set up some good burning heads. I guess the lore of Firecaster will be pretty critical here as well. The other thing, too, about the Scream Tank is it does just kill models outright on these Knights, right? Which means they can't heal through that damage. Like, if the model's dead, it's dead. There's no way to bring it back for Brettonia. But another really nice burning head here, cutting down another peasant archer. Should just straight route them off. Well, the Dark Elves kind of set up their little defensive position here. Looks like the Hippogriff Knights are kind of looming. Charybdis has taken some missile damage here, so it needs to be careful of that. But, oh, looks like we're going to see a Dwellers. Oh, man, nasty big Dwellers on those Blackguard. Oh, that's devastating. Miravoy actually bringing Dwellers, very important, as, yeah, that's going to do a lot of damage. And with that as a factor, I don't really like Hadri's hopes here, to be honest. It's not looking great from the outset, but perhaps Malice can get in here and get some work done. The Hippogriffs do just charge in on the Scream Tank, which I think is honestly a little bit questionable. They're going to get some damage on it, but they get counterattacked by multiple units here, including the Halberds. Royal Hippogriff, or sorry, the remaining Cold One Knights move in. I don't know, I guess with Lewin's buff active, they do have a significant amount more melee defense. But yeah, all the Halberds moving in here now. The Charybdis moves in as well, so all this anti-large. Oof. Wow, we see Zaurkan just pop right now. I mean, it makes sense from Hadris. He's a little bit behind here. He needs to make a play to try and come back, and that AoE damage will definitely help. Demon's Curse, everything else. Yeah, look at this. The Hippogriff Knights taking surprisingly little damage, actually, all things considered, but another brutal burning head. Oh, man, roasts out 3 units of Peasant Archers right there. That is going to help Hadris get back in this game, certainly. The terror is also starting to take hold on a lot of these Brettonian units, even the Knights themselves getting terrified away. The leadership debuff for the Charybdis overlapping with the leadership buff here from the Bloodrack Shrine is causing some issues for sure. The question is, can they survive? Lewin jumps in to try and finish the Bloodrack Shrine. We've got plenty of archers firing in as well. It looks like its time is going to be somewhat limited. But if Lewin also gets routed here, then he loses his regeneration. He loses Blessing of the Lady. Oh, and he does get routed. The overlapping leadership effects there. You can see Hadris just clawed his way back on value there. I'm not sure if he'll be able to sustain this, just because he can't really cut out and punish a lot of these routing units and chase them off. Looks like the archers are going to be able to finish the Bloodrack Shrine. Maybe the Bloodrack returns some fire there, blasts the peasant archers, and they rout. It's barely alive here with like 200 HP. Oh man, oh man, this is getting real tight, guys. As the Hippogriff Knights and the Damsel attempt to stop Zarkan from chasing Lewin off here. Wow, what a turnaround. Don't call it a comeback, right? But yeah, the Scream Tank here likely is going to fall despite Hadra's best efforts. One more volley. Ooh, goes down to 70 HP. Yep, this is it right here. Yep, there it goes. So another nice volley on those spearmen before it gets finished, but it does inevitably get finished. And Zarkan actually just kills Lewin straight up on the ground here. That is going to be absolutely massive for Brettonian leadership. So with one leadership debuff going, right, another one comes, and yeah, it's permanent as well for all units map-wide. So let's see how Hadris plays this. He's going to move his infantry forces over to the capture point to just stand here and accrue points, while Miravoy chases his peripheral units. The problem for Hadris, to a degree, is that he needs to keep Malice fighting now in order to keep the Warp Sword healing him to counteract the degeneration of Zarkan. So honestly, for Miravoy, maybe just waiting it out would be the best thing to do here, which technically you're allowed to do, right? There's no attacking rule here. Yeah, on the ground, Zarkan can keep up in his charge animation with Lewin on the ground, right? It's some modifiers there making it specific to this situation, but I don't know. I mean, Brettonia still certainly has a great chance to win this. They've still got half-health unit of Hippogriff Knights here who can come in and just blast these Blackguard, especially in tandem with the Knights, well-timed. And once the Blackguard are gone, the Charybdis probably doesn't have leadership to hold up. Malice, likewise, again, he's on a little bit of a timer now with the Zarkan summon. So as long as he can keep chewing on something, that'll prolong his life. And so to just get on these peasant mobs and allow them to get it done. The other thing for Miravoy to consider is he's got to be able to make sure he can blow up this blob in time, which, I mean, granted, he does have plenty of time. 700 tickets. So we still got a couple minutes left, but here we go. Knights and Hippogriff's going to move in for the first little cycle charge here. And we see immediately Knights charging from other directions. This is a classic late-game infantry versus cavalry scenario. Malice there just explodes that peasant mob so he can change directions and come start to pressure these Knights as well. Malice is only 68 speed, but that charge speed for the Cold Ones is much faster. There's more healing being done there, and Malice countercharging with the Charybdis, just doing massive damage to the Knights. And another big Warp Sword here. The Reaper of Souls even. Going to do massive, again, AoE damage, especially to the Knights. Caster runs in to try and get some leadership damage on the Charybdis, and it's not looking great for Miravoy right now. The Knights of the Realm weren't exactly timed with the Hippogriff Knights. And the Hippos also, I think this is a big mistake, are not going for the infantry. They're trying to take out the Charybdis, which, if you know my channel, if you've watched for any length of time, you'll know that I think that Hippogriffs are terrible at fighting single entities for the most part. Monsters, especially, but just in general, they're not great at fighting single entities. I would definitely try and punish the infantry here and preserve the Knights of the Realm to cycle charge out the Charybdis in the late game. But, oh, Malice on the caster as well, gets a massive hit. Another massive hit there. One last heal before the Damsel is gone, and she is donezo, most likely. Wise man once told me hippos don't do well at SEMs. Yes. It's true. So here, like, I would absolutely target the Hippogriff Knights on the blackguard, right? Kill the infantry, the halberd infantry primarily, especially in a rear charge. You could nuke the entire unit probably in one charge. But, I don't know. Is Zarkan going to have time to finish this? Is Miraboy going to have time to seize the objective? Or will Hadriz... I think Zarkan actually can live long enough. He only needs another 30 seconds, 20 seconds even, to hold the objective, and Zarkan will win this. So it's looking like Hadriz moving on to the final. If this were a regular land battle, it'd probably be pretty close to army losses, but I guess because the Hippogriffs are so healthy, maybe not. But, like, again, see, Hippogriffs, they have an attack order on the Sorceress? Like, okay. Not sure about that exactly, but the Blackguard still alive. Such great leadership, immune to psychology. Honestly, I would probably say they're overall the best halberd unit in the game. Mostly because Chosen Halberds and Phoenix Guard don't have immune psychology. But, yeah. Yeah, I think he wins on points at this point. Maybe. Oh no, maybe the Knights can get in and cap. Oh. Nope. Zarkan was able to get back the objective in time to save the cap. Maybe. He's literally at 700. There we go. I was going to say. What a game, man. That has to be one of the best games of the entire tournament series, honestly. That was wild. What a swing there. It looked very spicy for Hadriz for a minute until King Lewin jumped down where he wasn't supposed to, and then all of a sudden the collapse from Malice and from the Halberds and the Scream Tank and everything working together. I mean, almost 5,000 damage value on Malice. What a raid boss. Absolutely. Yeah, Blood Rack Shrine doesn't quite pay for itself, but the support value, the leadership damage especially, the two overlapping, and I think Malice also has a leadership debuff, does he not? So just in general, the stacking leadership debuffs, Burning Head also, again, another leadership debuff, right? Super effective for the Dark Elves to combat this super wide Brettonian build, and the strategy paid off in the long run. 200 kills, 1,300 value, 2,000 total damage dealt. Just absolutely blasting chaff here was this Fire Sorceress. Credit to Miraboy, you know, he played it very well, especially on that first phase. Was able to punish a number of mistakes by Hadriz. Really just shred those Cold One Knights completely, but wow. What a game. Very good game indeed. Congrats to Hadriz, and he now moves on to the final. So let's follow him there. And it's going to be Gotrek Starbreaker versus Hadriz for the final. What a game. That was intense, guys. I'm sweating after that one. All right. Okay. Let's jump in here. And we've got scoreboard set. Hopefully that looks okay. Gotrek, he might be up a little bit high, but that's all right. Here we are for the final of qualifier number 4 for the South Sea Mercenary League. Oop, not that. Nope, over here. So, just as a reminder of the tail of the tape so far, in qualifier number 1, Crabling prevailed over Berserk to seize the first spot. In qualifier number 2, Berserk got his revenge by prevailing over Lian Zhang to move on to face Crabling in the first round of the grand final, coming sometime in July. Qualifier number 3 saw Alric Ral go on a legendary run, prevailing over Blood Penguin to secure his spot in the grand final. And now for the final qualifier, we've got Gotrek Starbreaker versus Hadriz for that last coveted spot and the final prize as well. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yeah, congrats to Hadriz indeed. That was that was intense. Super fun game, man. Never doubted the Scream Tank for a minute. Yeah. All right, get their faction picks updated once they are ready to do so.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, that 700 tickets, I feel like it's a pretty good sweet spot where you actually do. Like 700, 800 within that range where it's like it actually comes into play, right? Like, and it keeps the games from getting super long too. I mean, I will say, if both players are contesting the point back and forth and it goes to points, it can still be a very long game, so it's possible still. But like that game, Hadriz was able to control the capture for most of the game, right? And ended up benefiting him well. We've seen a couple of cap point victories, like Pigman famously in one of the early qualifiers got killed on points, even though he was winning pretty decisively in terms of army damage value. Like up like 4,000 plus points. Thanks again to Creative Assembly for sponsoring the tournament and for providing me with the graphics. These are actually from the Summer Championship last year that I just have repurposed for my own purposes. Creative Assembly allowed me to do so, which I very much appreciate. I mean, CA, I'll put it this way, Worst Professor. CA is currently still smoldering, but also has partially burned down and is in the process of being rebuilt, let's say. Maybe that's the best way to put it. I mean, yeah, like, Creative Assembly's had some issues. They're probably continuing to go through some layoffs even still. But from what I've seen, there has been an like actual change. Like, yeah. Thrones of Decay was legitimately good, and Creative Assembly, I think, in many ways, kind of, I'm not going to say it saved Total War, because I think that's a little bit overdramatic, but it definitely helped them. Yeah, like a phoenix, right. And, you know, we'll have to be wary and watchful of their future releases and make sure that they don't stray back into their bad ways. But overall, it seems like things are progressing in the right direction. I'm certainly quite hyped for Arnak and the patch upcoming this week. And, yeah, for the Corn and Ogre and whatever DLC, whatever, I say whatever, Greenskins. Should be fun, honestly. As long as they can keep up with the quality of Thrones of Decay, then it should be all good. Their other projects, I'm not sure. I know Pharaoh is getting some expansions. I think they're all free, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's any paid DLCs, but essentially Pharaoh is going to be like the Bronze Age Total War game, right? Like the actual full historical Bronze Age Total War game. They're going to expand to add the Aegean and to add Mesopotamia, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken. I know they just put out a bunch of news for it, but maybe I'll actually jump into Pharaoh and try it. I have the game. I literally haven't ever played it other than the demo, which, you know, granted, the demo I played like a year ago now was very promising. The battle was fun. I just, for whatever reason, the game didn't grab my attention, especially, you know, last fall with Shadows of Change and the whole kind of community feeling at the time just really not being great was not ideal, for sure, so probably play it more if it had some sort of multiplayer support. Yeah, I understand. Ooh, looks like these guys are getting started. So I need to quickly update their factions. Do this here. Dwarfs versus Empire. Wow, this is going to be a good time. Whoops, that's actually backwards. Okay. Right? Okay. That's correct. Okay, so for game one of the finals, Queen Gotrek, Starbreaker, and Hadriz, we've got, yeah, Empire versus Dwarfs. Looks like Steam Tank Lord makes a lot of sense. Extremely good right now. We've got some Knights of Black Rose. Knights of the Black Rose, very good. Great Swords. And that's it? Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. War of Metal Gold Wizard here for Searing Doom and Gehenna's Golden Hounds. I don't know why I did it with that accent, but anyway. Let's take a look at what the Dwarves have got. We've got Miners with charges and without. We've got Bugman's Rangers and regular Rangers. 5 in total, with 2 being Bugmans. Got Brotherhood of Grimnir, Gyro, Copter, Dragon Slayer, Demon Slayer, Gyro, Dragon Slayer, Gyro. So 3 Gyros, 3 Slayer Hero / Lords. Should be in for an interesting time. Yeah, I don't see much anti-gyro either. I think Hadra's might have forgore that gyros exist. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Outriders or handgunners would have been a great counter, but as it is, the tank's main gun is going to be the only thing really to help here, but yeah, the gyro is going to be opening fire immediately, and honestly, Gotrek probably wants to just wait till Hadris engages in melee and then drop all his bombs on the greatswords and then probably win. But we'll see. Ooh, those miners definitely getting crumped by the Knights of the Black Rose there as they charge in. Yeah, I do see some gyros getting ready to make their bombing runs. And I might wait till the greatswords are actually in melee, so they're like maximally bunched up. But the Empire Lord also just charges straight up the pipe here, is going to immediately start disrupting the Dwarfs line. I will say the pigeon bomb is coming in, wrecking one ranger here. The Master Engineer actually can kill this entire army pretty much by himself, other than the Slayer heroes, and I guess the gyros, but the gyros might not be able to kill him if they use all their ammunition on other things. So this is actually good for the Steam Tank Lord here. The key is that he needs at least some great swords alive to be able to kill the Slayer heroes, or something, right? But here we've got these great swords all mixed up in this giant engagement. The Brotherhood of Grimnir actually not trading great initially, but yeah, Steam Tank Lord doing his best to cycle charge around and just do maximum damage everywhere. So far, I haven't seen bombing runs. It looks like Gotrek just content to use the steam gun to DPS everything down here, and this whole flank looking pretty forlorn, hopeless for the Empire. But yeah, the Gold Wizard trying to pull back into the woods to protect himself, as he has plenty of spell casting left to do. Steam Tank Lord going to get a beautiful side charge down the hill through this engagement. You can see that the Slayers popped their little AoE damage thing as he rode through them, which didn't do much damage to him. I don't think it does much damage at all, to be honest, but anyway. Yeah, Knights of Black Rose move in on those Bugman's Rangers. Their charge defense against large means Knights of Black Rose aren't really going to do a lot of damage, and honestly, besides the Steam Tank Lord, Hadra's build isn't going to be winning anywhere. You know, he can only be in one place at a time, so to speak, but let's see what he can do. We're going to keep it close on him as he blasts his way past Bugman's Rangers on a nice little odd side charge there. Pulls back around again. Another big blast. And yeah, the gyros are going to be moving in to try and focus the steam tank down, I would imagine. We do still have one pretty healthy greatsword here, and it looks like some of the Knights of the Black Rose are starting to prevail, be able to chase those Rangers off. So yeah, things are not looking too bleak, but now some bombing runs on those healthy greatswords. That's what we want to see. Getting absolutely exploded. Oof. Yeah, Demon Slayer gets a couple of hits in there, but it's going to be the best chance for Gotrek just to have his Slayer characters in the late game try and kill the steam tank. But right now, maybe the gyros do have enough ammo to just take it out straight up. Doing some pretty solid damage so far, and the tank going to move over onto the objective. Got this gyro over here. I don't know if Gotrek's necessarily forgotten about it, or maybe he is intending for it to just continue fighting. But yeah, if I was Hadris, honestly, I'd keep the steam tank moving. Even if the gyros are shooting, like, it's better to just at least be getting some damage in and continue moving rather than just sitting there and taking the shots. But we are very quickly moving to a situation where it's basically like tattered troops on both sides, but primarily just the machines and the heroes. Helicopters and tanks, and then Slayers. But let's see. It does look like the Gold Wizard did manage to survive. He pulled all the way back over to these woods here, probably trying to hide from the gyros, who are starting to bomb out those healthy great swords. Have a handful of knights here chasing some of these routing units, make sure they can't come back to fight. But yeah, I think the gyros are probably going to kill Steam Tank Lord, and I don't think Hadris can do much about it. Fortunate for him, but a couple of Outriders could have perhaps saved him from this fate. As it is right now, though, gyros do have enough ammunition, especially if they focus and save a little bit of their ammunition. Did one gyro go? Or no, there was always three. That's right. Yeah, you can see Hadris turns to face from the front. He's still going to take the explosion damage. I don't think the missile block necessarily applies to gyrocopter shots. And probably wishing he had brought some final transmutation right now to deal with the single entity blob. But let's see. Don't think the Great Sword's definitely not going to be healthy enough to kill all 3 Slayer heroes. So I'm thinking Gottrek's probably got this first game in the bag. I mean, definitely don't want to call it too early, but a little bit of Searing Doom there. Takes out a few more of the Brotherhood of Grimnir. Maybe. Nope, they get back up. And the gyros move in to fire some point-blank shots on the steam tank as he continues to chew through infantry here. Yeah, it looks like gyro down. Steam tank is returning fire here on the gyros. The engineer and the steam gun firing up into the air, it looks like, a little bit. Something's popping those gyros. I believe it is the Lord himself, but definitely not going to be enough damage to save him, and once he goes down, the rest of this Empire build is basically gone. They're all going to probably chain route, so we'll see. But yeah, no healing either for the Master Engineer. Arguably would have been better than the Gold Wizard. Didn't really do a lot of damage here with the Gold Wizard, so yeah, a couple of key mistakes by Hadris ends up costing him the game here. Just a different lore of magic or a couple of outriders, and this could have very much gone in his favor, but as it is, the gyros carry the day. And I feel like that's actually loreful to real life, is that, you know, helicopters beat tanks. So, yeah, all lore accurate and appropriate here. Gotrek coming through. The gyros just absolutely mad value. The steam gyros are one of the best units in the game right now, actually. Arguably a little bit OP. They might get adjusted in the upcoming patch. We'll see. GG indeed, yeah. Master Engineer, of course, such a terror. The rest of the build really just needed some, yeah, like I said, needed some Outriders. Even just cut one of these Knights of the Black Rose, take a couple Outriders, switch this guy out for something that can damage gyros or healing. One of the two. And then that's probably game for Hadris, but as it is, Gotrek able to prevail. Yeah. Yeah, it's really the story of the gyros there, so now we'll let them go on to a game 2. Some music back on here. And we're making great time, guys. 2.5 hours in, we're all ready to the final. Okay, wife just texted me asking if I want coffee. She's a wonderful, sweet, beautiful wife. Let's see here. Gotrek takes that one. It's always been a tough matchup for the Empire. Definitely less tough these days with what you can do. Like Steam Tank Lord, plus, you know, supporting units. It just gives the Dwarves nightmares. But Oh, all right. Ooh, Dark Elves versus Beastmen. That's a spicy one. That is a spicy one indeed. Let's do this. From Dwarfs to Beastmen. Gotrek showing his range here. And Hadra is returning to faction that got him to this position. See if it does him well. Yeah, gyros count as artillery. That's what I thought. They're not subjected to missile block chance. Ah, interesting. So the brimstones don't count as artillery, so they are. That seems odd to me that a flamethrower would be subjected to missile block chance, but you know, not the expert. Brimstones could do with a little bit of a tuning up. Probably just need more missile damage and need to also be counting as artillery again, so they bypass missile block chance. Yeah, the steam gyros are nuts right now, but the flame gyros are just not great. They are good in some matchups. Like, I'd probably still take them against greenskins, for example. Maybe a couple just for leadership debuff, since they're, you know, flying flamers that don't have to micro, like, not getting them killed by squigs, but brimstones have half the ammo, should steam guns have double. Yeah, that seems about right. They suck for a multitude of reasons, it's true. They're great at being light cavalry, though. Like, gyros are actually very scary as flying light cavalry charging certain types of units right now. It's kind of hilarious to watch, actually. A unit of, like high elf archers just die to a gyro charge. Which, you know, to be fair, I would also die if I got charged by a helicopter. Oh, they both still count as artillery, by the way. Okay, well. Interesting. Guess it just... yeah. Yeah, I want to be on vacation this upcoming week as well. Definitely looking forward to it. This tournament series has been great. June's been an awesome month for me. It's had some personal struggles, but overall been great experience tournament-wise. I've been super happy with how things have turned out so far. So, yeah, I'm excited for the vacation. Once I get back, we'll figure out the grand final. Depending on players' situations, that might be on replays, or it might be live. I'm not sure, but let's take a look. The box returns. Yeah, let's take a look at this is the same Dark Elf build, more or less, except this time he has 3 black card and 1 spear. Has 1 Dark Rider and the Crows of Cain, Charybdis, Malice, Scream Tank, Dark Riders, Fire Sorceress, Hellebrunai. For Gotrek, we've got some Centaurs of Tzeentch, got some Centaurs, got some Chaos Warhounds, a single spear, I see a Cygor, and some more Centaurs. This is an old school Cygor spread attack build, which I'm a big fan of. He's going to have some good targets to throw rocks at for sure, so this is why I resist further buffs to the Charybdis. Yeah, I mean, the Charybdis, the leadership buffs are great. The thing is, it just doesn't do any damage. Like, I'd have to go back and check that last replay, but I don't know if it even pays for itself in terms of damage. And like the Hydra, for example, right? The Hydra, like, what was it? Like a month ago, I had a game where the Chill of Sontar was fighting in melee the entire time, oftentimes against elite targets too, and it got like 750 value. So, like, I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, like, we need to investigate if these monsters can actually pay for themselves in terms of damage as well. Not necessarily always just in terms of damage, but this is more of like, you take the Charybdis literally only for this. Yeah. Yeah, Bloodrack Shrine definitely has it as well, and I forget, is Malice's is active, right? Let's see here. Yes, it's also active, -10 leadership, so it's a pretty good leadership bomb. Doesn't even require Lore of Death either, and definitely, I mean, Lore of Fire is just better, right? Because Burning Head is amazing. And that burnt leadership effect is obviously not as impactful in terms of leadership as Doom and Darkness, but I would argue that the damage done gives a greater leadership penalty, potentially, than just raw Doom and Darkness, but oof, got an interesting situation out here where these Blackguard are somehow able to get tangled up in the woods somewhat with these Centaurs of Tzeentch and whatnot. Very interesting situation. Meanwhile, the Scream Tank and the Charybdis just kind of pulling back, doing a little odd skirmishing. These Dark Riders eat that charge for justice, and for the Blackguards to be able to get in and get some more damage in. We see more Dark Riders, the Karens moving. Can Firewall moving too. Yeah, that's a big one for the Scream Tank, right? Yeah, got a big fight in the woods, and then the Charybdis and the Scream Tank get caught by some Centaurs and Hounds also in the open space. So Malice charges over there, 3 single entities, and then all the line troops kind of separately having 2 different fights here. But eventually this is going to go very badly for the Dark Riders as they get separated from their infantry support. Crows of Cain, though, are doing some very solid damage to these Centaurs. They've managed to catch up a lot of their unit models in the woods as well. But that Cygor in the distance there is going to be pounding away. This is pretty bad. Doom and Darkness from the Beastmen side from Malagor does manage to rout the Bloodrack Shrine, but then Malagor gets clubbed by Malice there. Malice is not able to keep up with Malagor, though, like he did with others. And as a result, Malagor should be able to catch the Scream Tank and actually chase it off here. Do see another Burning Head, and with the leadership debuffs from Malice, that is going to lead to them getting terrified away. Yeah. Halberds in the woods continuing to fight and doing some damage, but it's an interesting fight so far. Basically neck and neck in terms of damage value. Both players have gotten some good hits on each other. Both players have taken some significant hits as well. But we've got these Dark Riders that could potentially come back and try and bail out the Scream Tank here. Or the Karens could also go back there and try and bail it out as well. Yeah, see, like this fight, Malagor, a little bit brave, perhaps, going after the Charybdis all by himself. He's going to take a big old hit to his HP there. While Malice is just going to straight chase the Centaurs off the map, which, you know, hard to argue with that. You've got a half-health unit of Centaurs. Do not want to let them come back. Karens, though, on the ground here are going to get caught by multiple mobile units charging them in the back. Charybdis tries to help, but it's probably it for the Crows of Cain as they get absolutely evaporated. Some more Flock of Doom on those Blackguards, DPS them down over time, and the Cygor has plenty of rocks to throw at them, so battlefield situation-wise, I would definitely give the advantage to Gotrek, and it does look like he's about 1,000 points ahead. On damage value, the loss of the Scream Tank was pretty significant, but yeah, the Shrine adds to the Leadership Bomb and the elevated firing position. Ultimately, can be more survivable than the regular Medusa. Sometimes the regular Medusa is more survivable. It just depends on kind of what threats you're facing. Here, against more mobile threats, I don't know. Maybe it would have been better to have the regular Medusa. It's a little bit cheaper as well, but it's hard to say. Yeah, Hadder's going to move through, capture the objective. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm also not sure he has an answer for Malice, other than just hoping that all of his Centaurs can kill him. Which, I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility, as we're seeing right here. The Centaurs of Tzeentch and Surround doing really nice damage to Malice there. Of course, he still got his Zarkan form available, but see. Crows of Cain managed to catch Malagor up in the sky, or maybe he caught them, I'm not sure. But probably going to be chasing them off. A little bit of Doom and Darkness. And a little bit of Terror Route as well for the Beastmen as Cryptus arrives. Gotrek not giving him a square fight, as he shouldn't. I mean, he's playing Beastmen. They're a very mobile Beastmen build at that. I myself have played a spread Cygor build in the past. That was like one of my go-to playstyles for Beastmen for the longest time in Warhammer, even like late Warhammer 1 into Warhammer 2. Like you have a Cygor in the back, a bunch of mobile units. I would personally mix in more infantry on my builds because I don't have the micro with this many Centaurs at the same time. I would just go with like 4 Centaurs, maybe 2 throwing axes for 6 max, and then just more like traditional spears just act as roadblocks, right? And then again, spread them out all over the battlefield so you can kind of fight over time and maximize the Cygor's throwing rock value. But here, Hadris should probably stay on it. I don't know, the Cryptus might not win, but it is faster by a little bit, not by a ton, but by a little bit, and it also has poison. So if he could catch, that would be massive. But now, see, with the Zarkan summon, Gotrek should do what he is doing, which is to just avoid fighting Zarkan as much as possible. Hadris does lose the objective momentarily as well. Early Zarkan, yes, I agree. Perhaps too early. But, I don't know, I'm not... Yeah, interesting situation for Hadris, because, like, if he keeps chasing with the Charybdis, those mobile units could come back and punish him. So I understand to a degree wanting to come back and just let the Charybdis get some value here, fighting various things. But also, kind of, Gotrek leaves his Centaurs in here to fight a little bit, which is going to blob up the Blackguard for some better rock throwing. But Cascading Fire Cloak can't counteract that Doom and Darkness as leadership effects take hold. Centaurs are able to rout the Charybdis away, and it's not looking great for Hadris right now. Big rock drop on those Blackguard, and they are getting burst down over time. The Hounds and Malagor now moving in to finish the caster here, so not looking great for her. Zarkan and the remaining Blackguard going to move back over to the objective. So, yeah, Zarkan can hold the objective. Maybe. I just don't think he has enough HP. Yeah, now you can see Gotrek is just pulling back, not really wanting to give Zarkan any healing by fighting him in melee. Just going after these isolated units, more Flock of Doom, more rock throwing, more Centaur charging. Those Blackguard are shattered. These ones are likely done as well. Malice gets in here to fight a few more of them. But, man, look at all those Centaurs lurking in the back, too. Yeah, sending in the Centaurs of Tzeentch, honestly, one at a time to surround and kill Zarkan might not be the worst idea in the world. I think it's going to Gotrek. Don't want to call it too early, as Zarkan's still fighting. This will probably go on for some time. Strap yourselves in. Let's see what Zarkan can do. Zarkan do. Get it? Ha! Ha! Oh boy. Here comes more rock throwing. Malagor once again swooping in to try and snipe the Sorceress of Fire. He's going to Doom and Darkness on her. And gotta love Zarkan just smashing Malagor out of the blob, like, no. Get out of here. Just absolute rejection. But another nice Burning Head does burn through a few more of these Beastmen's units. So, it's a matter of time now. What is it? Yeah, like... Hunted, saved him, for sure. Saved the caster. That Burning Head, too, is pretty effective. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But Zarkan, another cascading fire cloak on him, increases melee defense. Caster does get routed at this point, which is most unfortunate. Zarkan's also off of the objective, and it looks like the Centaurs are technically capping it from him, so he's got to run back over there and get back on it. Cap weight wise, I'm assuming this follows the same cap weight as Domination. Maybe you guys can let us know in chat there if that is or is not the case, but Zarkan, I'm not sure it would, if like all the cavalry units were to just rush in and on the objective and like blobs around him. Granted, he could get a very nasty blood oath or whatever it's called, but would he not just then lose the objective? Leadership bombing, leadership bomb, for sure.
You have the foe's victory point.
Yeah, I don't know why Hadris had his 2 halberds deployed in the woods over on the far side, but it's looking like Zarkan's probably going to go down here as the Cygor comes to fight him in melee. Whatever HP damage the Cygor can do at this point is great, even if the Cygor doesn't end up winning necessarily, but he honestly might. Zarkan's down below, getting to about quarter of his HP. His healing cap's at about half HP, so yeah, Gotrek capping the objective, just keeping things nice and safe here. Much faster cap weight than Domination, but he won't keep the objective versus all those cav around. No. Yeah, I didn't think so, but Zarkan just decides to go out in a blaze of glory anyway, fighting the Cygor in combat. And there it is, folks. Finals number 4 done and finished. Gotrek Starbreaker crossing out many names from the list and the Great Book of Grudges today, as he levels the playing field and claims the 4th qualifying spot in the grand final. What a day, what a series of battles. We had some absolute barn burners today, some of the best battles we've ever had in this entire tournament series, and yeah, the finals definitely would like to have seen one more game, but that's okay. Still, GG's to both players, both played it excellently, and yeah, that Mass Centaur spread Cygor build, just an absolute terror to try and deal with. Hadris did his best, but got a little bit caught out of position in certain circumstances and ended up losing out those expensive halberds. And the leadership bomb just wasn't quite effective enough given Beastmen's spread mobility. But there you go. What a battle, what a series, what a tournament. Yep, that makes sense. All right, thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you everyone who participated in all 4 tournaments, everyone who played, who came to watch any of the 4. You guys are all the best. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's been my absolute pleasure. And I will be back shortly, in like a week or 2, with an announcement about the grand finals. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Hopefully I get another opportunity to host another South Sea Mercenary League, maybe in the winter, you know, around like November, December. We'll see. But thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.